some are saying we're moving into the golden age. Like, how fast will that golden age come? Are we talking about like a thousand years, or is it 100 years, or is it like in 10 years?
Well, first understand that as we tune into your question, we can feel the aspect of your mental construct that is just wanting everything to be sped up and happen now.
When I'm living.
And that's because you're on the earth plane experiencing the chaos and experiencing the difficulty with the shift, right? So we would say we will get to your question, but one thing we would say first is that the more you just become comfortable with the fact that chaos is a prelude to transformation, and that this is all part of the plan, and that you are guided, guarded, and protected, the more that you can welcome that into your mind, your mental construct, the less you will have this inherent need for things to be sped up, so to speak. Now, what's also true is that the more you are comfortable with any given situation, the more you move into your desired reality, right? Because what's true is that the more you resist something, the more you tend to stay in that vibration. And so the more you're comfortable with, okay, this is what's unfolding, this is all part of the plan, this is, again, an emanation of the one consciousness. Maybe I don't always know why it has to happen this way, but I know that this is what's happening. And so I'm just going to flow with it. The more you step into that, the easier that your life will become for you and for others. A lot of what makes things difficult is not the actual circumstances, but your resistance to the circumstances. So that's what we would say first. We would also point out to you that time, your perception of time, is speeding up. Things are changing faster. And with this event that we just spoke of in terms of disclosure, that will speed things along quite even faster still, so to speak. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now, in terms of this transition, the reason we said all that first is that, sorry for bad news, but this is a transition that will take place over a few thousand years, we would say. But also keep in mind that there is no end to evolution. So it isn't like, oh, we are shifting into this state and then there we are. It's not a college degree. I get the degree and there I am. It's that the universe is constantly evolving, constantly changing, constantly moving. Everything is shifting, and that's the nature of the universe. And so the more you can be comfortable with that, the less you will be looking for an end point. We feel that for you and for others listening, when you catch yourself in that mental construct of needing an end point, that's an aspect of your mental construct that is avoiding something that is unfolding right now. And ironically, the key to getting where you want to be is to come into a place of acceptance of what is unfolding right now.
I think one of the last questions I would like to ask is, what is the most important question we can ask ourselves at this time?
Who am I?
All right.
Who am I? And notice that when you ask that question, we're doing this intentionally. Let there be a pause. So you want to ask the question. You don't want to answer that question with your mental construct. You want to ask the question and feel for the answer. Detach from your mind and just enter this precious, powerful present moment and let silence answer that question, not your mental construct.
Hmm.
We'd say the most important message and the most important task at hand is actually to ask that question, who am I? And then as you feel for the answer, you're also going to start walking the path of recognizing who you are not. And both are equally important. When you recognize who you are not, you also embody more fully who you are. And we'll just give you a hint to make it perhaps a little bit easier. You are not your mental construct. You are not your mind. You're not your programming. You're not your conditioning. That you aren't any of those things. So you want to start to recognize when you get pulled in to the hypnotism of the mental construct. And when we say hypnotism, we're not using that word in a negative way. It's just that we're using that word because it pulls you in. The most powerful contribution that you can make to the collective and to humanity at this time is through the recognition of who you are and the recognition that you are not this mental construct. This is not who you are. That who you are truly is an emanation of source energy. You are light embodied. You are a soul. And so then the path becomes, how do I align with, connect with, and start to emanate that energy through me and as me? That is what your planet needs most at this time. So we'll leave you with that message.
Thank you so much. That was really beautiful. I think there was a lot of wisdom there. And I don't know how it feels to channel, but it seems like the words are coming very quickly. That is,
Yeah, it's funny because when the words come, like I can feel myself off to the side, and I don't know what the word is gonna be that comes out of my mouth next. So it's kind of like I can feel myself talking, but I don't know what is happening right now. So it's an interesting
wow,
sensation. Yeah.
fascinating. Do you remember anything of what came through now? And do you have any comments
Yes.
on it?
Yeah, so I can almost always remember for the few moments after. Again, it's like waking up from a dream where you're like, oh, I just dreamt that, and then you lose it later in the day. So, yeah, I mean, what comes through often and repeatedly is this notion of being aware of our minds
Mm,
and being aware of what our programming is, I
mm,
get what she calls our mental constructs, which is, our beliefs, our ideas, our perspectives, our habitual thought forms, and then just starting this process of sifting through that. And is that really in alignment with my higher self, my higher frequency self, or is that something that I was just fed at some point that I've believed, right? And so that our minds really do determine a large part of our overall energetic frequency, I feel.
mm,
So when you start to shift the vibration of the mind by either meditating and becoming the observer where you're not thinking any thoughts, or by starting to purposefully and intentionally, bring in these higher vibrational beliefs and perspectives,
mm.
then your whole energetic field shifts, right? And I feel like that is what we really need in terms of shifting the collective, because right now we're in this lower vibration of separation. Everything is separate. I'm an individual, I'm over here. There's no recognition that what I do affects you. And like our shirt today, like there was an
Mm.
interconnection there, right? That's like you're on the other side of the world, and we had this really cool interconnection. And so we're shifting into a time when I think our interconnection will be more apparent, and it'll be more important for us to not only recognize it, but also make decisions, take actions that are in alignment with that, rather than this perception of separation.
To watch the full video, click the link below, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel.
Ina, letho, resto maliata falia, tanshavra leto.